How we doing?
Hey,
How we
Glad we
doing?
can finally do this, boys.
All
This
right.
is intimate. I like this.
welcome.
There's no pandemic that can stop Copper Whiff from getting into your fucking filthy nostrils at this point. You know what I'm
Just
saying?
burning them open.
Epic.
I feel like we need a fireplace virtual background for all of this.
Yeah, and a nice big book with like maybe a little pipe or something like that. We need a Jackson. That's what we need. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd just like to be Jackson for one day, just to know what that's like.
Just for one day.
A day in the life of Jackson. I wonder what
So,
he gets up
it's
to.
special.
Someone should
have-
stick a GoPro on him and just see what he does.
We
all day.
witness someday.
Probably in
Jackson.
Bangladesh right now, just building a library or something.
Yeah.
Probably in Wuhan. He heard it was a nice place to travel to this time of year.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Yeah, dude. Probably down in Dufton going for a walk as he does. Who knows?
no doubt.
So
Well-
for our fans, this is the first time we're doing a little Zoom chat COVID talk. We want to try to get some more content out there. So not always just in the studio, which I mean
You're in the studio.
studio mic, so I'm always going to be here. But yeah.
What's it like
this
being
is
there yourself?
nice actually. It's nice and cozy,
Okay.
to be honest.
Looks
Yeah.
good from that angle. I'm not gonna lie. Like it looks pretty profesh.
I get told that a little bit. So yeah, so this is our way of getting some more content out there. Nice, easy for you guys and fresh off the take. So 258, am I right, boys?
Well, I mean, the reason why we're here and not in the studio is because Melbourne is locked down for the third time. What's there to say at this point? Everyone's just so over it. You boys have been cut back from work as well. Wyatt loves it, obviously.
Yeah, I wasn't mad. I was actually
We're-
Wait, let me tell you something.
Bludgeon Man's fucking wooch loves it.
The day before the fights, pre-Valentine's Day, and I've got it almost in my head that I'm going to miss Usman Burns. And then
Also Valentine's Day, with your girlfriend.
you know what
Which
this
is
was
who
on
you
par
like.
with?
Shout out
This
to
was-
Jazz, right?
This was on par with Bart when he prayed that he didn't have to go to school tomorrow and he didn't have to do his test and it snowed. This was the equivalent of snow in Springfield for me. I woke up knowing that I could go and watch that fight the next day.
And some poor soul got their fucking lungs snowed in by COVID. So,
It's 13 people actually, I think.
yeah.
Oh, God
RIP the
damn.
Holiday Inn.
You say they got a bit of pneumonia from it. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
Yeah,
anyway, the
you're
fights
loving
it was worth it and the fights were good.
Yeah. I had to watch them after the fact. Scumbag UFC Fight Pass again. Order the fight. Doesn't come through. Order it again.
No.
Order it again. Order it.
Yep.
So it
Order
ordered,
66, you could say. Yeah.
ordered it literally fucking 66 times and it didn't come through.
Not
So
going to say I streamed it.
I'm going to say I did stream it because fucking UFC, I bought your card 4 times. You know what? That's the only 4 pay-per-views I actually got. Was my 4 buys. Everyone else illegally streamed it. Don't at me.
That's not the first time this has happened to us as well, by the way. So we do
Check
have
out
a
our
video
vid.
called Wi-Fi Pass Sucks All the Balls. It may not be called that,
Something like
but
that. A little bit more
something like
censored.
that.
Yeah. Just so you guys
Basically-
know, that's what would happen if I wasn't the one doing the names for the videos. But yeah, a bit more censored than that. But yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of does suck balls. So
Yeah. All right. Run us down from what are we on to do?
All right, well,
From the bottom to the top, or we'll start with the main event and get sad and sadder and sadder as we go down.
let's do the main event first.
All right.
All right,
I'll you lead us in.
that first round was crazy. So Usman, Burns looked good in that first round. He hit him. This was one of a few times that I've ever jumped out of my seat when Burns hit him with that right.
Yeah.
And dude, it looked like Usman was going away early. And I think he hit him with a knee or something after, followed it up, and Usman was dazed for 30 seconds. Burns was putting it on him, and Usman just survives. Maybe looks pretty good in the second half of the round, but and then second and the third round, Usman just came back and just put it on him with the jab.
Yeah. I thought Gilbert looked like he was going to do exactly how I predicted the fight would go. It's just it wasn't enough. And that has to be said. I will put it out there for the world. I'm not a big Kamaru Usman fan. In fact, if anything, I've rooted for him to lose in almost every fight I've watched him in. So, and this one particularly, I thought Burns was the right recipe to get him out of there. all of the intangibles going in, former training partners. Gilbert's got some edges. You could say he was a lot faster. You could see it straight away. The speed was just like leap years apart. He clung Usman with a counter to that jab. The second Kamaru stuck that jab out there, he just like swatted right over the top, dropped him. Kamaru was dazed, as he said. I think he followed up with a head kick, which he just ate clean. Yeah. So despite the fact he was dropped, you have to give it to Kamaru Usman, man. That guy has just got a fire hydrant for a chin, man. Like, he can take it. He can take it, man. He's terrifying. So my takeaway, I would say, is that Kamaru Usman is not only the best welterweight in the world, he is getting better. The training with Trevor Whitman clearly paid off, as you could see with the improvement with his jab and utilizing his reach. Good. But I would say the big work for me was he's efficient. He's just so efficient with what he does. He's calculated. He did not get flustered when he got dropped. He was composed. He's very good, man. He's very, very good at what he does. And a great champion and a true UFC, probably to be a Hall of Famer in the future for sure. One of the best welterweights of all time.
He could take the record for the longest UFC win streak if he keeps looking like that. I think he's on. What is he? It's 16, and he's on
13,
14 or 13.
He's on 13. The record is Anderson Silva with 16.
Yeah.
So,
what he did, he could do it though. Like he looks so good. The extra 5-inch reach on Burns was utilized and like to extreme effect. And like I don't want to sound like a bandwagoner, but my stock for Usman, definitely rose after watching this fight.
Absolutely, I can't stand him. But you can't say that someone who takes a first round and takes a hiding like that and can adjust straight away in the second round. True champions adjust. They see that what they originally had game planned didn't work. And Gilbert Burns, as I said, should be the stylistic nightmare for him. And he was able to overcome that, which...
Well, Burns' jiu-jitsu was not even entertained by Usman.
Yeah.
And Usman's... when Burns was on the ground, it happened a few times after he'd been dropped. And he was kind of using the legs, trying to get something to happen. But Usman just stayed there and didn't want to entertain it.
Can I just
go on?
Sorry, can I just ask one question? Sorry, and hopefully my poverty internet doesn't drop out. Just all I saw was like the highlights, and I saw obviously the knockout, which looked. I was showing you too, Schwed. Kind of looked more like just a jab. Right, that kind of knocked him down.
Yeah, no shit.
Was he knocked down just previously before it, and that's
he got knocked a couple times.
What he did was in that second round, he made that adjustment to really. When you see that when he throws that jab, it's almost picture perfect. So there's no tell. There's like if you're watching the form, for instance, on like a side view, there's no tell, there's no flinch. There's no kind of setup for it. He just pops it out there, and he was just sticking Burns, and you could see Burns was getting flustered every time he would land in that. It was a very stiff, fast, accurate jab, kept it in his face, and you could see Burns just could not.
He was at the end of the punch perfectly, just about every single time.
And every time Burns tried to do anything, he was trying to leap in with these kicks. He was trying to. He was so flustered by what was happening that he forgot his whole form. Like his hands were down. He was just leaping in like real sloppy, and just Usman was just picking him apart. Just with a jab, literally.
Not to mention Burns also tried the takedown a few times, and look how far that got him. Usman, good luck taking Usman down.
I have to give it to Burns in the first round. Usman tried that under-over clinch, which he normally, once he gets a hold of, he just drives his opponent into the cage and just pummels them there and stomps their foot in the classic Usman style. Burns got out of that straight away, man. Burns tried to trip out the leg and just spun out. And you could see that he'd built in a game plan for every time Usman was going to try and clinch with him, that he was going to exit and throw straight away. Burns came in with a very good game plan. It just it got shut down very quickly once Usman was able to start basically stopping his entrances and stopping his explosive leaping. Like he'll leap in with a big left hook, or like he had a pretty diverse toolkit starting out. It just, as he said, it just kind of got shut down the second that Usman was made the adjustment.
Yeah, he didn't fight. He didn't fight Burns like he fought Woodley. Like Woodley, it was a lot of clinch pressure and foot stomps and whatever.
Fight, wasn't it?
He didn't fight Colby like that though. It was an old stand-up fight.
Lay this out for you guys, and you guys can take it from there. I mean, dominated Woodley for the championship, right? For the belt, dominated him. Then he's beaten Colby by knockout, which was a weird fight because they're both wrestlers, right? He's gone on from there. He's beaten Masvidal, another big name, and now he's knocked out the number one contender in Gilbert Burns. Where does that kind of leave him in the division, guys?
Well,
where does who get left in the?
Now that Usman's had those 4 big wins over 4 big names.
He's actually had more than that too. He's beaten Leon Edwards earlier on in their career, and he's basically kind of the number, floating just outside.
He's also the dark horse right now.
Yeah, but Leon's also in the top 5. Damian Maia was also there, ranked in the top 5 as well. Like the only people he hasn't beaten in that top 10 is Stephen Thompson, Wonder Boy, pretty much Stephen Thompson, or like Kies. I mean, Kies is there, but I feel like Kies is only like a new addition to the division anyway. But technically, Kies is there, and it's Stephen Thompson, and that's it. Otherwise, it's all rematches. Like he's pretty much cleared the whole division out at this point. It's all rematches.
Do you guys see a Colby rematch anytime soon?
Good.
They should do it if Colby can win.
The forecast, from what I hear from Dana, is that because Leon versus Chimaev has fallen out 3 times now, or 3 or 4 times.
Colby Edwards.
Dana has finally kind of admitted that they did Leon dirty. He has shown up to the fight every time. He's paid his dues, and they were going to force him to fight someone outside the top 15 to hold his spot.
They cut him 5 minutes ago. You remember that?
Yeah,
dude, how dirty can you do somebody?
Yeah,
Jesus Christ!
But changed their tune though now.
Yeah, no shit.
You can see that now. Dana's like, well, Leon showed up when he was supposed to. He's not fought for so long. He's the one who's really been affected by this. So we are gonna stop trying to force him to fight down, and now he should be fighting up. And I believe that they're trying to put together Leon versus Colby, number 1 contender fight. So the winner of that would go on to rematch Usman.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
I like it.
Because the Colby fight was a phenomenal fight, and I don't really care that much for all this noise about him wanting to fight Usman. That is, wanting to fight Masvidal for a rematch. I don't personally care for it, but
I don't personally care for it. But there is technically, for people who would say that fight doesn't make sense, like Masvidal getting an immediate rematch for a title when he
took it on 6 days notice.
He took it on 6 days notice. And he did not get finished, which is something that Colby and Burns can't say.
It's true.
You know
and
what
Woodley.
I mean? Woodley was decision.
Oh no, true.
But that's still
dominated though.
You know what I mean? Like Masvidal actually did pretty well considering 6 days notice, so he has that there. But
which one would you rather see though?
I would rather see Masvidal versus Colby Covington. And then
give Leon Edwards and Thompson.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Or if you can't do Leon Edwards and Thompson, you could do Leon versus Gilbert. If Gilbert could turn around quickly, maybe not. He looked like he took a significant amount of damage. Or you could do Leon versus Chiesa, but even then, it kind of doesn't really make a lot of sense. To me, outside of booking the champion, Leon should be the number 1 priority, man. He's paid his dues. He should be getting a big fight. If it's not already the title shot, like Leon jumps straight into a title shot, he's like an 8-fight win streak. He should be fighting Colby.
And then that same premise should be extended over to Oliveira as well. Let's be honest.
Exactly. Couldn't agree more. They're in almost the same exact position in the division. They're both that guy who's like riding the longest win streak that no one wants to fight.
So the UFC's dick. Yeah.
How I would book it. Like Kamaru Usman, I know he probably wants to stay active. He's already cleared everyone out, and he's probably looking for new names. But I'd like to do Masvidal versus Colby. But if they can't come to terms with that, you do Colby versus Leon. Winner gets their rematch, and then you can just pair everyone else up, however you see fit.
Like it.
I don't really like Masvidal getting a title shot. I feel like Leon deserves it, but I don't really know if I want to see him get an immediate title shot. I feel like he should maybe get one more fight against an actual elite fighter. So, and then I don't like Stephen Thompson getting that title shot immediately. Like, I just don't see that there's any clear number one contender at this point.
Well, I was going to say one more question on that. I don't want to harp on it too long, but who do you reckon in the division is capable of actually beating him now?
No one.
Usman? Yeah, probably not.
No one. Not
Just-
after
I thought you were
that.
gonna say
I told you,
Usman.
man.
I mean, you got to give. I really want to see Wonder Boy get up there. I want to see if he can do it.
I still think, as I said, I feel like Gilbert was going to be the toughest test stylistically. If he couldn't do it, and you saw flashes of it too, you could see exactly the problems that Gilbert was going to present. He did not just get blown out of the water. He had Usman in a lot of trouble in that first round.
The most trouble.
Excuse me. But yeah, the most trouble, basically. He's never really been in that much trouble before. But I did it again.
With you, man.
I want to see Thompson get a win or two.
I'd like to see Thompson versus
I want to see Thompson as
Leon.
the champ. Not going to lie, I would like to see that before.
I'd love that too, man. I agree. I love
I
that
just
guy.
don't think he beats Kamaru Usman. There's no way he can stop that. He can stop that takedown. I just can't, and I don't think he can knock him out either.
Now, Griff, you
What
were
if he
enlightening
could?
me.
But what if he couldn't?
But what if
Right?
he could though?
Look, I know that Stephen Thompson has outstanding takedown defense. Like, he trains with Chris Weidman trying to take him down, and he's always trained with Weidman. So I know he's got outstanding takedown defense. It's just Kamaru Usman, man. You don't. It's just not the takedown defense that's the problem now. Like, Kamaru's been starting to stand. He's starting to get he's starting to really improve his striking. As I said, like the finishing sequence that he had against Gilbert was a fucking pull counter, which some of the best strikers in the world struggle with those kind of
He's not a bad striker, is he?
moves. Like, he pulled away and countered over the top and dropped Gilbert with that. And he was actually switching stances and throwing the jab with his power hand and just lighting Gilbert's face up. And I mean, Gilbert was just flailing. Like, he had no idea. His hands were down. He was just continuously getting peppered with this jab and just had no answer to it. So,
it's like he couldn't even see it coming. It's like he's
and it's not that fast either. Like, Kamaru Usman's gift is not speed, but it's just efficient. It's just a really efficient, snappy jab. That's just almost perfect form. So
now, I was just saying, you enlightened me with a little theory of where maybe Usman could go from here. Before.
okay,
you have one, don't you, Griff?
yes, I do. Yes, I do, and I don't think anyone has kind of mentioned this yet. With how the divisions are shaking out, there is no like I said before, there is no clear-cut number one contender at welterweight. At middleweight, Israel Adesanya was probably the only reason why Kamaru Usman wasn't going to move up. Like, he's an enormous 170 and he's almost beaten everyone else at that weight class. But he wouldn't move up because he would never challenge Izzy, because they're obviously very close friends. And just out of respect, he would never fight him. And the same with Khabib. Like, Usman and Khabib were also very close, and they just always said that they would never fight each other. But, and this is where I think it gets saucy, Israel Adesanya is going to move up and challenge Jan Blachowicz for the 205-pound title, and he will not relinquish his middleweight title until he wins the new title, so he can be a champ. I think if he beats Jan Blachowicz, I see no reason why he would want to go back to middleweight, since he is kind of cleared the division out there too. There's no one there for him to fight. So what I think they should do, stars would have to align, is that we'd have to wait for Robert Whittaker versus Paulo Costa to play out. And we'd also have to, which I think doesn't happen too far from when Israel will move up and challenge Jan. So in the instance that Israel beats Jan and drops the middleweight title, and Robert Whittaker faces Costa, and I think we can all agree, obviously we're Aussie, so we're rooting for Whittaker. I just see Whittaker is just a terrible matchup for Costa. So I envision Whittaker winning. The problem is, I think even if Whittaker wins those 3 fights, it's not enticing enough for Israel to go back down to 1 and beat him again, because he's like, well, I just beat the 205-pound champ, so there's no work left for me at middleweight anymore.
Calvin Gastelum would have to go on a crazy run to entice him to come back.
Yeah,
So we could get the rematch of that.
see, but I just don't see anyone there at this point. So I think if there's no welterweight contender and the middleweight champion moves up and wins the light heavyweight belt and just vacates the middleweight title, I think Robert Whittaker will be on one side of the bracket, and that leaves Kamaru Usman potentially to move up and challenge for the second title at middleweight. Kamaru Usman versus Robert Whittaker. One former welterweight, one current welterweight moving up. I don't think Izzy would have a problem if Kamaru Usman went for that title because, you know, he's vacated it. And because
He's a small middleweight.
Because I don't think he would be. I think he's enormous. I think
he's jacked.
I think he's probably the same size as Robert Whittaker. I think they're the same height.
I don't think Whittaker's overly that big though.
But still,
it doesn't necessarily matter. But like,
he was a champ, so I can't say shit.
I think they're both very similar in size. So what I think would be a crazy scenario, but it could potentially be, is that Robert Whittaker would Kamaru Usman for the vacant middleweight title. And then if Robert Whittaker beats Kamaru Usman, that is something that maybe will entice Israel to come back down from 205 to face Robert Whittaker now that he's won the championship that's vacant. Yeah. And it's also against someone who's his friend and is also a champion at that weight class. Or if Kamaru Usman beats Robert Whittaker, which I don't know if I see that happening, but it's possible, you know, then Israel will be like, oh, well, I'm not mad that he's holding my title. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're boys. I've got work.
So Whittaker's shorter than Usman. Just checked it out. Usman is, so Whittaker is 1.8 meters. Usman is 1.83 meters.
Yeah, well, there you go. And
there you go.
And he's jacked.
Yeah, he's saucy. Hey, I'm always a fan of seeing a fighter go up in weight, especially Usman.
Yeah.
See those tits coming out a little bit more.
I feel like they would be very,
look like.
I feel like they'd be very similar in size. If anything, like Usman might even be bigger than Robert.
That's what I just said. So,
he's bigger. Well, he's taller,
I mean, like bigger, like thicker, like bigger, like build in build.
Imagine like Usman versus fucking Costa or something like that, man. Both of them just fucking.
Yeah, I think Costa would be significantly bigger than Usman though.
You reckon?
Yeah, Costa's massive.
I know he's massive, but like Usman just looks so ripped, man.
He is ripped. I just mean like Costa is just a bigger human. I think he's just a bigger because like. The thing about Usman's body is that he's got skinny, tiny legs and a giant upper body. Yeah. Costa's big everywhere. His whole body's big.
Costa's exactly the same height.
Same height, but like, yeah, we're talking.
Yeah, I think Costa's
just for reference.
Yeah,
to say Costa's lower half is twice as the width that fucking Usman's is. Anyway, so that's just obviously a ridiculous, not ridiculous, but it's a series of events that I could see playing out, going off of the motive. It's plausible. As I said, but going off of the motivations of each champion, like, you know, what's Robert Whittaker got to do to get a title shot if he beats Costa? You know what I mean? There's still no real way of saying that Izzy will come back down and fight him again. So if that title spot is vacant and Robert Whittaker beats Costa, there is no one else there at middleweight. The whole division's cleared out. It's basically Izzy cleared out the whole division and then left, and then Whittaker in his absence has cleared the division too. So there's really no one to even fight on the other side of the bracket if they have a vacant title fight. So
we just give Whittaker some credit as well. Beats Cannonier, beats Till,
beats
man.
Beats Brunson, beats Uriah Hall, beats Jacare Souza, beats Yoel Romero twice.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Look, I'd like to see
wins, baby.
I'd like to see the Whittaker Izzy fight again. Personally, I understand that maybe he doesn't have that draw, but like he's a champ, man.
It draws big over here.
I was worried when Whittaker, like after the Izzy fight, because Izzy just put him out and it made it. I don't want to say his chin's bad, but it just looked like
made it look like
it. It made it look like he'd taken damage from the Romero fights, but he came back and had some great fights. I want to see
Costa as well, right?
Yeah, maybe
Costa
it's the same
got put
thing.
Down by Izzy, so
yeah, but
wait. So the Whittaker Adesanya fight 2 would be a lot like the Stipe and DC fight.
Yeah,
too.
That's exactly.
You know, fucking Stipe comes back the second fight and his chin looks, you know, like it's recovered, and yeah, he has 2 like excellent fights with DC, which he wins.
Except we don't know if Whittaker's actually going to get that fight, you know. So
that's exactly why I felt like that Kamaru Usman coming up to middleweight and challenging for that title, if Robert Whittaker is able to beat someone like Kamaru Usman and end that winning streak, end that 13-fight win streak, I feel like that might potentially wake Israel Adesanya back up and be like, you know what, there's something there at middleweight for me to go back down. Because he has said before that he's not interested in names. It's legacy. Like, I want to fight the best guys and the ones that are going to build my legacy. If he beats if he can come back down to 185 and fight Robert Whittaker, after Robert Whittaker potentially beats, as he said, Costa, and then if he beat Kamaru Usman after that.
And can we be honest, the names at middleweight, even though he's already beaten them, they're way juicier than light heavyweight. Light heavyweight names, I don't think are as juicy as middleweight.
You don't think?
Nah.
But there's no middleweight.
Who do you think sounds cooler on the resume at light heavyweight?
Thiago Santos, Glover Teixeira.
Oh, we love the glove here, but
Get around the glove.
I don't think so.
Dominic Reyes, John Jones.
Did you know he's Hispanic?
John Jones is at heavyweight now, though.
Heard that. Yeah. Heard he's Hispanic.
Can't believe he's Hispanic.
That's the only name I think. It's like the Thiago Santos one.
Well, let's play devil's advocate here for a second. All this talk about John Jones versus Adesanya. Let's say we play that out and he goes back down to fight for the belt against Usman. Who you got in that? Out of Adesanya versus Usman, if that was possible to happen.
They would never fight.
They wouldn't do it, you know.
They're Nigerian.
No. You can't ever think of that at that matchup, because they've, like Usman has said before, and so is Izzy, that they would literally never fight each other under no circumstance. That's what kind of sucks about Usman as the champion.
Yeah,
I think it's Stylebender too. Personally.
Yeah. Woo!
I think Stylebender just tunes Usman
on the feet, but I mean Usman's like got that wrestling, no?
Yeah, but also
Adesanya never gets taken
Romero
out.
had that wrestling too.
Yeah, he had a weird fight though with him, didn't he? The old.
Yeah, but here's so Romero had that weird fight, but then almost the exact same fight with Costa. Like Costa, after he got touched once, it's like he was scared. Like he's caught in headlights.
Yeah. Well, let's if you guys want to move on to the rest of the card, because I actually didn't watch it, so I'm kind of interested to hear what you guys have to say.
Okay, we can go down it. I think what was it? So we got Macy Barbara, Alexa Grasso.
Everyone was sleeping on Grasso.
I had her picked, but I think Macy Barber looked really strong in the third round. Like if she had fought the rest of the fight the same way that she did round 3, she might have actually won it pretty handily. But
she didn't.
But people forget too. Like everyone's writing her off already. I remember a fighter by the name of Charles Oliveira, who was young in the game, and people were writing him off once he took all these losses earlier on. And look at him now. You know what I mean? She's 22.
Yeah, I'm writing her off being the youngest UFC champion. That I am writing her off, but
I think that she's just got a long time to get better. And, she's already this good. She's a natural puncher. She's aggressive. She's got that fighter heart and spirit. And yeah, she's just kind of like, she's a little bit raw in the
She's tenacious. She's a bad bitch.
Yeah.
It's a bad bitch.
And Alexa Grasso is just a little bit more experienced, a little bit more fine-tuned, especially in the stand-up. So, not my favorite co-main event, but congratulations, both girls, I'll say. Like, I think Macy pulling out that third round really showed that, it's not over for her. Like
she got hit in there too. She could have gone down.
Yeah.
But yeah, that warrior spirit was there for sure.
Yeah, I think it's fine for her. I think it's fine for both women. Macy Barber, that's a rough fight to come back to after nearly a year off, just going straight in there against Alexa Grasso. Like, shit, boy.
Was it knockout or like TKO? Was this
just decision, but like it was,
came back strong in the third.
29-28. What's before that? Gastelum.
That was Gastelum and Heinisch.
What?
Dude, Gastelum he showed his experience in this fight. Holy shit, you saw him. Yeah, dude, that big old fucking enchilada eating fuck really showed how good he was.
He's got the Johnny Bravo body like no one I've ever seen, where his legs are literally 2 feet long. He's got these teeny tiny little legs, and his upper body just looks preposterous.
Dude, he has a body like Samity Sam. Like it's the small limbs, but it's just this big square of a body.
It's looked like someone took a template from the Justice League, like the cartoon, how they're just like these triangles, and just fucking copied and pasted
He's just got that big burrito fucking
He's got
energy
a
about him. Dude.
giant head on him too, man. He can.
Yeah,
he
no
has
shit.
one of the most chins. He ate a flying knee from Heinisch, and I'm talking not a setup flying knee. Heinisch has his hands out to the side, and he just like waltzes into this bullshit flying knee and hits him clean. And you're thinking, okay, so I just won 50 grand. That's my bonus. I knocked him out. Nope. Calvin Gastelum just drops to a
Not
single
even
leg.
phased either.
He's a
He
bull,
didn't,
man.
no phase,
No.
whatever.
Nothing. He's crazy. And like, I mean, another weird sequence that in that fight too, I think it was in the first round, is that Gastelum took him down immediately. Heinisch took Gastelum down, I think. And he ended up in like mounted by Gastelum and had a fucking Kamara going whilst mounted, which is something you very rarely see. And
Yeah, it's crazy.
look, I'm not a
Gastelum's arm, dude, the
Yeah.
strength in that fucking arm when he had him in the Kimura for like half the fight.
I don't think he strengthed out of it too. He actually used very good technique to like relieve the pressure from that. Like he showed, as you said, a very well-rounded game, tough as shit, experience, exactly like you said. And it was kind of weird because it's kind of like a mirror matchup. Like they both kind of do the same thing. It's just Gastelum has been doing it longer. To me,
Yeah, but
that's what it
Heinisch
looked
is a
like.
bit more herky jerky. He always comes out with crazy movement at the start of the fight.
It's true.
Dinky.
Very Holly Holm-esque, where it's just a lot of movement for the sake of movement and not a lot of movement to set stuff up.
That, or it's very like, I don't know, Andrade-esque. I don't know. He just comes out like always fucking, I don't know,
All
doing the
head
chicken,
movement.
I guess.
At
Just,
least
Possibly do,
Andrade's
yeah.
head movement actually amounts to something. Like her when she fought Rose in that last fight before the
Yeah.
Chukagian fight, like she looked very good.
Mm.
So yeah, so I mean, good win for Gastelum. He really needed this one, and he's always that guy. Like I just don't think he can lose. He could probably lose 20 fights in the UFC with keeping him around. He's just too big of a name. He's too, he's competitive against anyone, as we saw. He fought the sitting champion to a fucking split decision. So sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit, right? Like he just does stuff.
yeah, Rogan said it best. He's world class.
He
but
is.
Could probably make welterweight if he wanted to.
He should be. That's something I think is just out of straight up discipline. Like he should. His natural weight class is welterweight. He just can't be cutting it, and he just likes to be a fucking thick boy. And
Nothing wrong with that, dude.
I appreciate it. One thing to note about Gastelum too, though, is that like this is a pretty good win for him, I think, because all the names that he's beaten, they're all old men. Like he has wins over the Bispings and the Vitors and the Tim Kennedys. They're all old when he beat them. Like I know those are big names, but like anytime he's kind of fought someone younger and a little bit more around his
Skill range set.
maybe not skill range. I mean like athletic prime, like in their
Capabilities.
athletic prime, like in
They're
their
out of their prime by the time it gets to them.
yeah. They're both sort of about in their same level of prime. Like he hasn't exactly blown the doors off a lot of guys. Most of the big names he got was kind of like what Neil Magny did. Like he beat them a little bit after their best. So he's been competitive, as I said, in a lot of good fights, and he's a warrior. But at the same time, he gets fucking heel hooked by Jack Manson in 30 seconds in other fights. So it's strange, but I love him. I'm a Gastelum fan, but I'm not his biggest fan at the same time. Like I'll always watch him, but like he does annoy me a little bit. So,
But he could be, yeah, potential.
who do you think he fights next week? Like, have you got a rough idea in your head of? I think he said he wants to be the alternate to Whittaker versus Costa in case someone falls out. I don't think that's warranted, but he, what do you think, Cannonier?
No, middleweight. Yeah, maybe.
I like Cannonier. I can't think of any. Maybe Shabazian. I don't know if that's a good idea to put Edmund Shabazian in there with him right after that horrific beatdown from Brunson.
Yeah, I think Shabazian, it's we know that he needs more experience now after that Brunson loss.
I feel like Heinisch was that kind of that's that key to really say, like that's not the gatekeeper necessarily, but that's the test that you got to pass to say like, hey, I'm ready for top 10 talent, is get past Ian Heinisch. So
well,
you
give Heinisch Shabazian because they're both coming off losses.
Do that. And then maybe do and I know Cannonier's coming off a loss, but I like the idea of Cannonier versus Gastelum. Like that to me sounds like fucking fireworks across the board.
3 for 9. Yeah, maybe.
Couple of sledgehammers. Yeah.
All right, couple of quick ones to go over.
You'll talk about your boy Captain Crystal losing.
Yeah, Captain Crystal, but also my mullet boy Ricky Simone. Like, they're kind of both my boy. I love them both. I had picked Ricky to win that. He has been looking very sharp since that loss to Uriah Faber. He is. I love when MMA fighters fight MMA fights. They mix everything together. They punch, they kick, they wrestle, they feint, they learn. That's what you need to do. You can't just fight one-note fights. Conor McGregor. You got to do stuff. You know what I mean? And look, Ricky's a great athlete. He's explosive. He's fast. He's technical. I know I sound like Joe Rogan, but anytime someone says technical, I think of Joe Rogan because like there's no other word for it. But he fought a really good fight, and I mean, Boom Kelleher is nasty, man. Like, literally, you could call him fucking Mr. Nasty Man. He's got that boomertine that he's got a really strong guillotine, and Ricky just fucking slid right out of that like it was nothing.
Yeah, he nearly had him in that guillotine a few times.
Yeah, so, I mean, Ricky's that guy. Like, he'll probably beat everyone outside of the top 15, but he kind of needs that guy, like what Casey Kenny's getting with Dominic Cruz. Like, he probably needs like a, Frankie Edgar or something like that to really get across his abilities. I just think he had his opportunity with Faber, and he did not pass that test. So I feel like the UFC are just going to continuously roll him against almost everyone outside of the top 15 until there's no one left he can fight. The exact same thing that happened to like Vicente Luque. Like, he will just beat everyone else outside of the top 15 and around that area. And then once he gets that shot to crack into the top 10, it's going to be make or break. I personally...
He's got a decent record too. He's like 18-3 or something.
Yeah, it's very clean. And I think he just fought like 3 weeks ago too on a very... like.
He did, yeah.
I like that. To me, I think the fight to make is the Merab Dvalishvili rematch, because that was a really weird fight the first time. Merab pretty much won the whole thing and then kind of got submitted the same way that Ben Askren subbed Lawler, where like he submits him at the very last second of the fight and you think, oh, fuck, he's out. And I think the ref called it at the very end of the fight. I'm talking like the 15th minute of the third round. And then Merab looks like he's out. And then as soon as the bell goes off, he just fucking hops up and walks to his corner and starts celebrating. And then they called it a third round submission, Ricky Simone. So I think Merab's was meant to fight Cody Stamann, and that fight, I think it was Cody Stamann or someone like that. And the fight fell out like a couple of weeks ago. So I don't see why we can't rebook that fight. That's a rematch. You know me, I hate rematches, but that's a rematch that probably is warranted to really see who's the next guy to get into the top 10.
No rematch, Griff.
Yeah, no rematch, Griff, except for
That's about the first time I've ever heard a rematch come out of your mouth, I reckon.
Yeah, right. No nonsense.
It's one of those ones where it's like, it's a weird ending. As I said, like, it's a strange hit. That's the latest submission in UFC history, because it comes on the 15th minute. It's literally third round submission, 15 minutes or 5 minutes. Sorry. Like, it literally counts as submission after the fight ended.
Yeah, so they waved it off pretty much as it was like.
Yeah, as the bell went off. Exactly.
Yeah, that's tough.
So I think they should run that back, and I would love to see that rematch. I think they've both gotten a lot better. Merab's obviously a fucking ridiculous, like a Khabib, 135 Khabib. He's just insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
Anytime you want to see a rematch is if it's against you in arm wrestling. Like, this is interesting.
There's lots of rematches apparently. Even though he's the one who, as much as it pains me to say, actually can win some of those, he still wants to rematch all the time. So.
I mean, he cheats every time.
I was gonna say, when is the last time I even arm wrestled anyone? It's been a hot second.
When was the last time we drank together in the shed?
Ever since my dad just
lost to me and then couldn't handle it.
Spotlighted your cheating.
Really?
Yeah, no, he put a little spotlight on what was really happening. The old movement, the old elbow movement. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we can
blinded.
We can do that all we want in the regional scene, but then we get out there in the pros and we got like Clarkey and stuff hanging around. Yeah, good luck.
Clarkey's arm is the size of my body, so
even you've beaten Clarkey though, haven't you, Griff?
Yeah.
What?
I don't
Yeah,
know if I
okay.
buy
It was a
man.
long time ago. I think he'd
I
crush
don't
me
know
now.
if I buy that. I'd have to, because it does. The arm chemistry doesn't even work after a while, right? When your arm is like literally that much more than the other person's, if you're going down like that, that's
Yeah,
going to
but
make your
he's-
arm weaker. Do you know what I mean?
It's
Like,
If he's
winnable.
using his elbow like he always does.
Yeah, well, but no, but like I'm saying, no, it's better for Griff in that way. Like for instance, me and Wooch, when we arm wrestle, because I'm the one who's like down here and he's going more extended out to grab my arm.
like yeah, you got to go.
Being
out more,
shorter
yeah.
is
He's gotta,
being
like,
shorter
which-
is actually better,
Oh,
right?
is that the reason? Is it his height based? Oh, is it fucking
What-
height
What's
based?
that? What was
I'm
that?
actually-
80,
I'm
80-inch
in-
reach or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
No
trying to
biggie.
help you out here. I'm in your defense. I'm saying it's better for me if we arm wrestle. I'd have the advantage. But anyway,
Oh, okay.
no, this guy can't even give him a compliment.
All right. Well, I'll beat you all at ping pong, and we know that.
Oh,
So-
what a load, dude! Fucking, I took you into this world, and this is what you do.
Yeah.
Is this the avenue we're going down?
Hey,
You guys want to put ping pong?
My
on
dad's
your
stronger
fucking-
than your dad.
No, I started last out of all of us on ping pong, and I caught up and got better than everyone.
You
So,
say that like every day and night we woke up and played ping pong, and we're like studying the
you
art
had
for
a
years or something.
significant advantage over me to
We
begin with.
played ping pong like once a
guarantee
month,
you,
once
like-
a year.
I
Like,
disagree.
we-
I think there was a while there where ping pong or pool was happening quite regularly.
that was with Griff though. That was when Griff.
we were those
Kamar-
assholes who'd go to the pub and we would hog the pool table
Yeah,
all night.
we would look at them dead in the eyes as they waited and put the other $2 back in. Went,
Is it
playing another one?
assholes or is it come beat us for the table and you can have it?
Yeah, we were fair about it. We played doubles for the table.
Yeah,
Although,
gentlemen.
like, we would play ping pong socially, but Griff, I reckon you went to some fucking Shaolin monk up in the Himalayas just
Yeah, I
to
was gonna
see
So
if
you admit that I got better.
if you can
Right.
actually like beat us. No, we didn't care though. We're just playing like, just in between mates. You're just like, nah, I'm going.
You don't
to
even know.
fucking-
He actually
I
became
have
Buddhist.
I have the trophy in my fucking closet if we need to break
I feel
it
like we were playing ping pong
The sleeping bag.
pretty casually for a while, and then next
For a
minute
while.
I show up and they're like fucking warming up their forehands without a ball. Like,
Yeah. Well, no, warming up our forehands, dude. They got like, well, mostly Griff gets his fucking racket out of the car. His specific like
Hey,
ping
and my
pong racket.
uniform.
you
paddle
guys would
set.
find out someone's coming over, and then half an hour in advance, you get out there and you
Warm
start
up.
doing your dynamic stretches.
You got to limber up, dude.
Yeah.
Well, stretch out that
Stretch
forearm,
the
dude.
phalanges out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
deltoideus
Yeah.
phalanges.
I don't
Oh,
want to
look,
bust my puffy valve playing, all right? I need
Look,
that.
I have to give it to you. You did win, and Wooch wasn't here for it, I don't think, but you did.
Hey, I
win
had to
the-
fight.
the
I had
Barrett
to.
pub.
I had to verse someone who was bigger than Wooch to fucking win.
He's a
Dude
tall
was a
dude,
He was a
giant.
big
tall
fella.
lad. Yeah.
Shout out to that
Um,
guy. I think did he text me on it? Just quickly.
He
see.
did. You were there. We were there when you got the.
No, I just want to
message.
find his name so I can shout him out if he listens.
Ryan, I think it was.
Ryan? Yeah, shout out Ryan. That guy was good.
Nice,
I'm better.
Memory. Yeah,
Right?
this
I'm
fucking
better.
guy.
Better.
There.
Dude, you were the best person on that night at the Barrett Victoria Australian pub, dude. It was
You
You
crazy.
said there was quite the turnout as well, right?
There was like
Yeah.
5 people.
Classic
there.
Eight
five.
whole people.
I think
people.
5 people actually were in it, and then some people's girlfriends also tried to play as well.
Yeah.
But
think
And the
they-
host.
They came to have a little bit of fun, like a little ping pong night, and then we just rocked up.
The
And
fucking
Rocky music.
armbands, now headbands.
Yeah, we made it, though. We made it. Could you imagine if we didn't actually rock up? Like we brought like the 3 of us actually playing, and then I can't believe that
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm not modest right now about going to a ping pong tournament at a pub, but I'm not. We made that night, okay?
Because
And we
the
took
host
all their
actually like
prizes.
thanked us. The host
Yeah.
thanked us. He was like,
Well,
"Dude,
you,
you
you've
guys
missed the
just
part
probably
where
wouldn't have gone ahead."
you should probably tell anybody who's listening like what exactly you were wearing to this tournament as well.
Well, we can bring a picture up. We've got pictures, right?
Yeah, we can.
probably
Yeah.
just added
Well,
a little quick
What are you going to wear if you're
edit in.
playing
Oh,
at
you know,
Wimbledon,
just
dude?
excuse
That's
me
what we
again.
want.
The fucking belchers, dude.
These guys show up in white shorts,
I
and
can
a white
send you.
shortest
I can
shorts.
send you the photo of all 3 of us, and we look
Yeah.
fucking.
Yeah.
headbands,
Stiff.
We all go.
armbands,
Look,
fucking
we'll put it up.
cockbands,
Why don't we just post it
everything.
onto the page?
Yeah, we'll put it. Yeah, check out our Instagram for that one.
Yeah, and
okay?
listen to us on Spotify and YouTube, right?
Reminiscing. Okay,
All right, two
so-
things I want to quickly mention. Two or three fights.
Yeah, we digressed there, didn't
Okay,
we?
so
little bit.
we're in a little rant. Sorry, all the listeners who wanted to hear I got a ping pong. It's fine.
They all know about ping pong.
Fluffy Hernandez submits Adolfo Vieira. I have not had my jaw hit the fucking floor in a fight in a long time, especially in a prelims fight. Adolfo Vieira, I think, is a 7-time ADCC champion, one of
Let's look that up.
one of the highest credentialed jiu-jitsu players in the UFC, in all of mixed martial arts.
Wow.
Middleweight.
ABCDEFG champion. That's crazy.
Yeah, right. All of the Elemental P's and whatever.
I
So-
thought you said ADAA for the dodgeball.
Yeah.
right. Did you hear that
ADAA
too?
All-Star.
All-Star. I was like, that sounds like
Dodgeball
dodgeball,
Association.
dude. 88,
Dodgeball.
dude.
Anyway,
sorry.
yeah, sorry. Continue.
Digress. Yeah.
So Fluffy
Diagonal.
Hernandez is just kind of like a middleweight. Like he's a tough guy, decent stand up, decent subs. And he
Rodolfo fucking Vieira is a 4-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion and a 7-time world champion.
Yeah. So preposterous jits. He's built like he makes Costa look, you know.
Yeah, 4-time Brazilian
Question.
Jiu-Jitsu world champion and a 7-time world champion. That's better.
If you could see a picture of this guy, he is built preposterous. I don't know how he passes a piss test. I feel like if he pissed into a vial, it would melt right through the damn.
You go through the
go.
floor.
Okay, so that was funny enough. We should mention how jacked he is. He gassed out faster than any fighter I've ever seen
No shit,
outside
right?
of heavyweight. Man, he took Hernandez down immediately and was hunting for that sub. And Anthony Hernandez, being smart, just defended subs, worked position, just stayed composed, didn't panic, even though he had a fucking monster on top of him trying to submit him. And just the second that the fight resumed back on the feet, he just started landing combinations on him, just putting it on him, and Rodolfo just folded like cheap paper, dude. Like he just could not keep up with the pace. And once his first initial game plan didn't work, it was all over him. It was so impressive. What was impressive is that Hernandez could have knocked him out on the feet because he was just so gassed he couldn't even hold his hands up. No, he fucking went out of his way purposely to beat him down so badly that he could not resist this submission. What I can't even remember what he had him in. It wasn't I think it was.
Well, how did he win?
Yeah, what was the
Guillotine.
submission?
Guillotine.
Yeah, guillotine. Was it a?
By the way, we're
guillotine?
talking about Rodolfo. His nickname in fighting is the Black Belt Hunter.
Okay, well, he just probably lost to like a blue belt.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. I don't know what her name.
Green belt, motherfucker.
Yeah.
We're talking about he's got 7 wins and 6 of his wins are submissions.
Well,
Most of them arm triangles.
he lost via submission, and that to me is that's a notch on the old belt right there. To submit that guy in any capacity, even though it's
Big
a
time.
fight, it's not a jiu-jitsu tournament. The fact that he tapped him out is just unreal. That's a huge win for Fluffy Hernandez. I was blown away. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
It was to me. It was this. I had the same kind of reaction that when Kevin Holland knocked out Jacare from his back. It was the same thing. I was just blown away. It was outstanding. So congratulations to Fluffy. I'm a fan. Obviously after that, was fucking
Congratulations to anyone who tipped
awesome. Yeah.
Fluffy to win by submission too.
Yeah. So because also it was paying 30-1 odds, so you probably made a lot of money if you were dumb enough to even pick that, because
Come on
there's
the cast.
no one could have predicted that. It was.
Should we shout him out after? We should probably do that as well. Keep him a little well done.
It's insane. So shout out to Fluffy. I feel like Vieira should just move up to light heavyweight. I see no reason to continue cutting all that weight. It's probably why he gassed out so bad. He's enormous. So 205 is probably going to get some work in. And also, what's his name? Is it Julian Marquez?
Yes, dude, the Cuban Missile Crisis, coconut bombs.
So he was losing. Coconut Bombs had beaten him over 2 rounds pretty clearly. He was beating the shit out of him. Coconut Bombs looked actually very good, a lot better than we've seen him in the past. He was just not
Implementing some
going
wrestling,
crazy,
some clinch work.
Yeah. Just really fighting. As I said, an MMA fight. So I think he changed. I think he's gone to Extreme Couture now to start training. So he's doing what Usman's doing, moving camps, trying to expand the toolkit and really find a better place to train and get better. Oops, what happened to Doodle there? Oh, he's back. And he was winning that fight until he wasn't. So shout out to fucking Marquez again, and then shout out to maybe the best entrance of all time and the best call out of all time. So
both. His stock rose in my book. So I don't know if you guys know, but he called out Miley Cyrus to be his Valentine.
Hey,
I didn't hear that.
And she
Attaboy.
responded saying, if you shave my initials into your chest hair,
It's a yes.
it's a yes. I'll be your Valentine.
Done, right? Surely.
And she
If
may
I
have
get,
said
like-
love after that
A
too.
weird request. But
No,
yeah.
it's not. Miley Cyrus is a
Dude,
fucking
shoot
babe.
your shot, baby boy. This guy, this motherfucking guy, another middleweight, calls out Miley Cyrus to be his Valentine, and she basically said, "If you shave my initials into your chest," which I mean, he's obviously a hairy fuck.
Yeah. His name's the Cuban Missile Crisis.
How do you think of that? Like,
It's-
what do I want for a guy to sweep me off my feet? You know what? If he shaves his fucking chest with my initials in it.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he does it, and he feels
Okay,
like
yeah.
this afterwards. He feels exactly like this.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the simps out there that would probably do that, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, I would do that too.
Pissing off the fucking
you know,
Eiffel Tower. Let's go.
we said in an episode previously, I had a massive crush on Miley Cyrus. Yeah, but you know,
Yeah, no shit.
probably got
Dude.
enough chest hair to actually.
I was going
You
to
can't
say,
say in the
now
same
could give it a
situation. You
go.
cannot say in the same
Shwed, you're doing
situation.
it.
You wouldn't shave MC in your ass hair, dude.
Yeah. Right
I'll
up
shave
on
my
that
ass
I was
hair,
gonna
fucking-
say,
Yes.
Shwed
that
has
bare
to
white patch.
Thank you, Daniel Sloss.
I was going to say, when a comedian tells you to shave your asshole,
You'd shave it in your eyebrows if you had to, dude.
Oh,
Yeah, in that fucking not the John Anik mustache.
Nah,
Surely not.
nah, that's not
Not
nah.
worth that. Fuck
Don't
off,
you dare.
Miley.
Fuck off, man. Ain't touching this.
That's pretty insane though. Fuck. So instead of like calling out someone in the division and making the most of like his opportunity on that platform, is just like Miley
Just
Cyrus,
shit
where's your
his
fat
shot.
ass at?
That was a great call
Yeah,
out, I
legit.
think.
That's a
Well, lack thereof.
She was.
like-
If I don't know if you guys watched the Joe Rogan podcast where she was on it recently. It was
Yeah.
one of his last YouTube ones, but she was
Yeah.
sort of sleuthing at a man on that. You know, if you could, if you watch
Also-
it, she's kind of talking about how relationship, like she hasn't found the relationship for her. So
Come
hey,
on.
you get the Cuban Missile Crisis calling you out.
Yeah.
Good call out.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. And also, that was a weird podcast because Rogan continuously cut her off, like in that interview. It was so strange. It's just one of those ones where some guests he just has no concept of like where to stop and start in the interview, like in an interview, in a conversation. He would just continuously cut her off, and it was like we're losing all momentum in the conversation because you don't let her talk.
It happens
Yeah.
both ways. You see the one with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that was
That's
pretty
how-
rough.
Horrible,
too.
yeah.
It
See
was
like
both
those
ways.
compilations, the compilations of just him getting cut off.
Rough.
But then, dude, I mean, yeah, once again, the other way around with this Ngannou one that I'm listening to at the moment, which I know Wuchi said you listened to, like just listening to Ngannou's life fucking story, dude, and just having someone like Joe Rogan have that platform and just letting him speak is
Yeah,
just
no
fucking
shit.
tremendous, dude. It's
That was a great
tremendous.
podcast. Like that
Yeah.
podcast, Rogan didn't even really talk at all.
It didn't need to. And Ngannou, who would have thought like the guy's been speaking English for like 3
Not
years,
long.
not even that, right? And with his other two other language that he knows, and he's just speaking and he's just telling his story, and he's funny, he's fluent, and it's just it was.
Let me say my piece on this. So that podcast, like we all knew that Ngannou's had a rough life and he's come from a rough area, but like actually hearing the steps that he went to get to the USA, like all of them in great detail, where he's talking about how he was like 7 attempts at like taking the boat and getting across. I don't even know if I want to see Stipe and him for the third time. Because I don't even want to see
Second time?
no, hear me out. So if they fight for the second time and Ngannou wins, I don't want to see a third one. I just want to see Ngannou be champ. And I want to see Stipe keep his legacy.
Well-
Unpopular opinion, but I would not want to see either of those guys lose in the trilogy.
I would think that the same thing will happen to Stipe if he loses that did when he lost to DC. There's a bigger fight on the horizon. When DC beat Stipe, DC held out so he could fight Brock Lesnar. If Ngannou beats Stipe, I know it's obviously warranted that Stipe gets a rematch, but I
100%.
think that the UFC will just move straight ahead and do John Jones versus Ngannou because all of the money.
That's very true.
So
Yeah.
Stipe could be getting dogged down again if he loses.
Hey, well, that's what we're saying. If he loses, which it might not happen, but Francis was good when
He's
they
a
first
movie,
fought, but
dude.
now
It's a movie.
he has like he's had time and he's got experience.
Look,
Yeah,
Like
but
the-
has he though? He's got about 2 minutes of experience since
Not
they
even
last
that. He's
fought.
had like 30 seconds, but still, like we're not talking about necessarily cage experience, but you know he's going to be
Confidence is back.
confidence, and he's going to be would have been practicing what he needs to have practiced to beat
That's the thing.
Stipe in the first place.
that's the thing you have to remember with Ngannou is that he's only been in the fight game for so long that just the time that it's taken between the last time that he's fought Stipe is almost like probably not doubled the time that's been in the fight game, but it's actually a big chunk of time on top of what in percentage wise of
How long was
Just
he in the
overall
UFC before the
experience.
Stipe fight the first time? It was about 3 years, right?
Yeah, you're spot on, Doodle. As you said, like Ngannou went from having not thrown a single punch to fighting Stipe for the championship the first time in 5 years. It has since been 3 years now since they've fought. That's, as you said, he's nearly 1.5%, or whatever you want to call it, that statistic. Like, he could have improved so much in that time. Look how much Israel improved in the first 2 years that he's fought in this company. Look how much Kamaru Usman improved from fighting fucking, what's that, Emil Mech to where he's at now. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys don't just improve from 1 year to 5 years at the same rate. For every year that they go on, the improvements almost double every single year. So that, like, those 3 years that have gone past, he's probably 4 times as good as he was the first time they fought.
Is that the next main event? Is that Ngannou and Stipe?
No. We still got
I think
Adesanya and Blachowicz.
Yeah, I think it's the next one. I think it's the UFC card in April, I believe.
No.
Right.
Wait, so we've got that, then we've got the 3 title fights,
Yeah,
and then
And I
we've
think-
got it after that.
yeah. So it's
Yeah.
2 months away.
But yeah, may I just say, if Ngannou does somehow become the title holder in that division, that Steven Spielberg has to make a movie about it.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Let's
The
not even
guy-
say if somehow, like somehow makes it sound like it'll be
Look,
a
I'm just
fluke,
saying,
but like, dude, if he could very well be the champion this year, and if he is, like, good luck
It's
to
just-
everybody
Yeah,
else.
so amazing,
no
guys.
shit, no
If
shit.
you
No
haven't
one's
seen
taking
that
the title off him.
podcast,
It's,
you haven't
it'll,
seen the
it'll be
podcast, watch
bitter.
it.
It'll be bittersweet seeing him be champ, because like he'll be champ, but then again, like, will heavyweight be exciting if it's just like, who can really beat this guy?
Think about when Mike Tyson was the champion. That's what it was. It was just, how long is this contender going to last? That's exciting as fuck. I think that's absolutely what the UFC want. They want someone who looks the part, who has a great story, who can
The
talk,
best story.
who's marketable, and who can knock motherfuckers into orbit. And that's what Francis does. He wakes up to violence. Do you understand what I'm saying? He is the most terrifying puncher in that sport's history, and he will one punch almost everybody who he steps in the cage with. It's just a matter of when he lands. So the UFC can knock
We're
the fuck
looking
out
at
of
the
that,
real life
I think.
Hercules,
And,
or the real life fucking,
yeah,
the closest thing we have to a Superman. That's right there.
yeah, Sayatama, or whatever his name is, Sayatama. Is it
Yeah, from One
Sayatama? Sayatama?
Something like
One
that.
Punch
One
Man.
punch. Yeah.
No,
Okay, I have a cast choice if they were ever to do a Francis movie. It's the guy from
Black
the
Panther,
movie.
or no?
What's it? Yeah, Black Panther. You know, M'Baku.
M'Baku.
Ah, yes,
I knew you were gonna
100%.
say
M'Baku. That guy. He's got good acting
Yeah.
range. He was in that Jordan Peele movie. What was it? Us.
Oh,
I've
us.
seen
that.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's the dad. Is he?
He's
the
the
big
dad.
energy.
Yeah. Big dad energy. That's
Yeah, yeah.
that's a good. Yeah. Any other shout outs? I think I want to say Chris, is it Gutierrez, had a really good fight against Andre Ewell. That motherfucker can kick like a fucking mule, man. He's terrifying.
Wait, there is another shout out. We've got to give some props to Bilal Muhammad.
Oh, true. Remember the name Muhammad, man.
Yeah, man.
He is looking very sharp. Look, sharp in the sense that he, as I said, he fights an MMA fight. He's a grindy fighter. He gets in your face. He shuts you down. He,
Sharp in the fact that his body looks sharp. He's ripped.
But he punches into takedowns. That's the kind of thing you want to do. Punches into takedown, punches into kicks, kicks into punches, kicks into takedowns. Like, he mixes all of the elements that you need to make a fight grimy, dirty, gritty, because he's not obviously a one-punch knockout artist. He's not an outstanding thing. He's just kind of like a jack of all trades, master of nothing. But when you fight like that, it becomes hard for those kind of specialists, especially someone like Diego Lima. Who
Dude, he pressured Diego Lima. Diego Lima was trying to
trying
to throw the low kicks, and he was having some success, but it's like almost like Bilal was just pushing through him.
Yep. I mean, if it was Douglas Lima, if he was trying to do that
no
too,
shit.
I don't think it would be the same thing. But Diego was, he still kind of fights the same way that Douglas does, just not as good. So, I mean, he's always been that way. A gutsy performance from Diego Lima, but I mean, Bilal's just, that workhorse, man. going back-to-back wins over Lyman Good and then Diego Lima's. I don't know, man. I like his chances against someone in the top 10 maybe, or someone just. He must be getting close, surely. I know he has a loss. He's got a couple of knockout losses. I think Jeff Neal knocked him out. I think Vicente Luque knocked him out. I want to say maybe Nico Price knocked him out. Like, I think he's just underneath those kind of guys who are, the big names sitting outside of the top 10 who are just clawing to get into that.
They're all pretty spaced apart. Their losses aren't they're pretty spaced apart. He was on a 4-fight win streak now. Also, Alan Joban got him.
Yeah. Well, as I said, Bilal Muhammad has been putting in work, man. Remember the name. So
very nice.
Any other shout outs? I would say
258 post-fight show here. So
yeah, post-fight show. That's everything I wanted to cover was kind of already said. So I look forward to that next main UFC fight. Was it 259? I don't know about any of the fight nights in between. Like, I'm not overly jonesing. I'm sure we'll do a preview show, but I mean, Curtis Blades versus Derek Lewis is not blowing my hair back.
Yeah.
All I'm doing is basically gearing up. All of my life and my preparation and love is basically the next UFC.
We've got a couple of really saucy ones coming up, though. Let's be honest. The next couple of months, we've got some real juicy fights coming up.
Well, I say that. Yeah, I reckon we should preview those when it comes time. But I think this was a really good first crack. I think at a post-fight show at a new platform. Reaching the audience in a way that, as I said, it's probably better just for audio only. Don't have to go to as much like the extreme efforts that Doodle and Wyatt normally go to really edit a nice, crispy, a well put together video.
Pleasing, product. And I think this way, definitely.
This way that we can, if we put all this content out in this format, that allows us to really flourish in these new segments that we want to do for the podcast, so that when the podcast itself comes out, when we're actually filming on the couch, it's going to be something to behold.
Yeah.
Like, we've got everything. Yeah. A lot more creativity.
Probably tighten the screws up with the the format of this, and there'll be some
But I think basically because we are locked down and we don't know when we're coming out of this, I believe that this might be our best option, as I said, to really any kind of news that comes out, like any big fight announcements or big anything at all in that.
Yeah, we don't have to go to as much lengths and video editing or whatever to get it out. Like, this is so much easier to get it out as it happens.
Yeah, just react to it straight away and chuck it up on the channel, chuck it up on the Spotify, and even then Schwid as well. Like, you and I might be able to, maybe tomorrow break down the new Justice League trailer or something. If you wanted to.
He doesn't give a fuck about that.
Oh yeah.
Hey, come on, man! I
got an absolute tangent about all that, but let's leave it at what we have right now.
Well, it looks like.
What about? Before you go, you want to say something about WandaVision, because there's been a couple of episodes since your last one came out.
Oh well, I mean, in our first part, we're like, we're not too sure about this show, and maybe it's something that needs to be binged. And watching back at that, I think me and Griff are both like, no, you need to just be watching this show.
Yeah, batten down the hatches.
Yeah. So look, we'd probably almost do another Marvel / DC update potty and
potty
in the upcoming time. But
for
sure, I do like this. Like you said, I like this platform. I like where we're going with all this, and
makes things a lot easier.
How long we're going to be in lockdown for? So all the time in the world, and may as well put out all the stuff that we have and we know.
It is comfy. I like being in my computer chair at Wooch HQ.
Yeah, I was going to say that setup. Yeah, and I'll have to be that guy, the producer over here, and say we love everyone's support so much. The fact that people actually might possibly enjoy that we're just having some friends having a good talk and whatnot. But I get
oops.
Sound like you were scared of the dark for a second.
I got a little bit scared. I need that blue light. You know what I mean? Behind me. So what I was saying was that shut up, Shrew. I can hear you in the next room fucking laughing. What I was saying was
coming through loud and clear, baby.
Was that I get it all the time from people telling me that they liked and whatnot. So I really do appreciate it. And yeah, please make sure you give us a follow here and a subscribe on YouTube, because every single one of those means a lot to us. So
And
thanks
there's
for
a few beers.
listening.
We're getting thirsty as well.
Please
I
suggest
have
some
to
beers for
also
us.
shout out, I don't know if you'll even hear up to this point, but Jake Lester, the guy that we all went to high school with, good lad, sent us a beer to review. So we'll have to try and get onto that, so that once lockdown is over, we can have
Which beer's that?
you go.
Oh, do we even reveal?
Say,
Or do we say?
we can maybe leave it for a surprise until. But
Alright.
yeah, shout out. This is good, man. Like, I really appreciate that people are reaching out to us. They are, talent, any kind of suggestions. Said, I found this beer. Like, love to see you guys review it. Or if you think of a particular topic, either in MMA or in Star Wars, Marvel, DC,
We'll
anything
talk
of
about
that stratosphere, man. Even if it's just ask us what your favorite ice cream topping is, or what do you prefer to wear, boxers or briefs, or whatever the fuck, just throw it out there.
Bring out the list, huh?
Leave some
We can
comments.
talk.
Yeah,
We
show
can
the love,
talk.
and we will just talk your ear off. And as I said, we might just be updating from this hub and HQ like pretty often, I guess.
So, thanks for tuning in, guys.
All right.
Cool. Sub.
Peace.